Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Hurdyburg Internet Broadcast Network. We are broadcasting live tonight from State of the Art Studios right here in Round Rock, Texas. And I wish I could tell you my sound effects were working, but they come, they go, they come, they go. And that's okay. I am back after taking Tuesday night off. So, for those of you listening on the live show, um, or even looking for the archive for Tuesday night, you didn't see it because I had a little bit of surgery last Friday and I'm still healing up. And so this is my first night back on the air. And tonight we're sitting there with Donna McMurray with Dazzling Light Photography. Donna, prove you're here. Say
Hello,
hi.
everybody.
And
I am here.
yeah, and we're going to talk a lot tonight about photography, which is great because I love this, close and dear to my heart, right? I just use the other kind. I use the pictures in motion, and you're the expert on the still stuff. So we're going to have good conversation tonight talking about what you do and what Dazzling Light Photography does. And she's got some real cool niches I think you guys are going to be extremely happy with tonight. But before we get to that, and if they can hear it, we'll just put that on there. Hey, before we get started tonight, I've got a couple. If you're listening for the first time or coming in or listening to the first archive show, which will be up tomorrow, we cover Austin business, local business. I have 11 sponsors. Those 11 sponsors pay for 20 show segments. Now it's 40 show segments because we're going to Tuesday night, right? And they allow a small Austin business to come on and we kind of create their own little infomercial show to discuss their business, how they got started. So you get to know a lot of your Austin business. And I think your show, I want to say it's 108.
Hmm.
Started this 3 years ago, believe it or not, 108 shows.
That's
I
awesome.
think about all that content and I go, God, there can't be that many people that enjoy listening to Hurdy 108 times with his guests. But I help people tell us they enjoy the show. They love the fact that it's on a custom player when it's over. It's on YouTube, but they love that they can go and click on the sponsors, and the numbers always are pretty good on the server side where I store that. So be assured that most people listen to this on their cell phones driving to work or when it's on archive. And so you guys need to go and join my group on Facebook. It's the Hurdy Burke, and my name I better spell it for you: Hurdie. Last name is Burke, Burk. Broadcast Network. That's on Facebook. Go join that group. I'll add you. And then, of course, you'll be connected to the custom players and all the sponsors. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm
Are
glad
you
to be here.
excited? Are
I
you excited?
am.
Well, I'm going to thank one person. Okay, we are talking about him earlier.
Hmm.
Larry. Uh,
Yes, Larry.
and Larry is, and I just drew a blank on his last name. See, this,
Karsten
yeah,
with Cedar Creek Concrete.
right. Well, actually, it's called EncoreConcrete.com is now the
Oh.
website, but decorative concrete coatings and for slippage, for color,
Hmm.
for decorative, for patios, for garages, and people don't understand they can really make a house look pretty cool by decorating the concrete, right? So Larry Karstens, EncoreConcrete.com, one of our sponsors. Go check out his website. And Larry, thank you for being part of the show. And I have no idea, but we're
Yay!
going to
I'll
platform any.
cheer
We're
for
going to
him.
platform anyhow.
I heard your show with him
A couple of
a
weeks
couple
ago,
weeks ago. It
yeah.
was wonderful. He's great.
And if you want to go pick up that archive, just go over to the Hurdyburg Broadcast Network group on Facebook. That's where all the custom players are. And you can also find it on my G Plus account that you're watching this on now if you're watching this through G Plus and not the YouTube link. And your family might be listening in.
Yes.
And where are
We're
they at?
excited. My family
And
is in Arizona.
so they're listening all the way from Phoenix.
No. Oh,
No,
no.
Flagstaff.
No. My parents
I'm
are
just
in
kidding.
Tucson.
Tucson, the best place.
Yes.
I'm messing with you. And they're going to be getting some rain.
They hope so.
They hope so, right?
Yep.
Man, they've had the big spell out there. So we got people listening from all over the place,
Yes.
and it's amazing. Don, I've had people listening from Russia, France, Germany,
Wow.
England, and I know they fly over just to buy stuff from us, right?
Right,
But I guess
exactly.
they just are entertained to listening to the show. But anyhow, we want to thank you for being here. You brought me your crack staff of producers brought me a whole list of, and I want to tell you something
Yeah.
right now. You're the most organized guest I've ever had.
That just comes from
Well,
nervousness.
I understand, but I mean, I've got 3 pages of nice typed out questions and answers. And of course, I'll bounce off of her and ask her some in between stuff, But she's smart to do this because this will keep you on track,
Yes.
and it's really a great idea. So we want to introduce Donna McMurray from Dazzling Light Photography. And before we get to these, I have to ask you a few questions.
Okay,
And
go
they're
for it.
personal. You've listened to the show, so
I
you know it's
have.
coming, don't you?
Yes,
See?
sir.
And this is how we help our guests settle down and get into the groove. Okay, so originally a Texan.
No, originally from Tucson, born and raised there for 20 years, and very fortunate. My parents still live in the same house they built in the 70s, and
Isn't that amazing?
so it's awesome. I love getting to go back and visit, and all my family is in Arizona, and I moved to Texas in 2003.
So when you get to
So,
go home, you really get to go home.
yeah.
You get to go home to your house from the 70s.
Yes, and I still
That's
have
pretty
like my
amazing.
room and everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Everything there and all that stuff?
Well, not
I know,
everything.
but the
I mean,
original room is
yeah,
cool. It's got to bring back some memories.
yeah, it's pretty neat.
How many people can say that?
Not
Not
many
many,
nowadays.
right? So
It's
you like
very.
Austin compared to Tucson?
I
What?
do.
There's a huge difference in the land and what it's
Yes.
like, right?
Tucson has a lot of the desert, which has its own beauty.
Right.
But here we get to see a lot of the grass and the wildflowers and everything like
Just
that.
hold that. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So,
Yeah, it's a different, you got the desert feel and everything
right.
and all that. And then you come to Austin, you've got allergies and cedar and
Yes.
trees and flowers and
Oh,
bugs
yeah.
and you have heat, but not like they have in
No,
Arizona.
you've got the humidity here.
Yeah, in Arizona it may be 110, but it may be very dry. And that's
Right.
not saying it's not hot. And you, but
Right.
you, but it,
It's just
it's
different.
a different feel. Believe me, take my word for it. All right. So, favorite color?
Purple.
You got it on tonight.
Yep, I've got it in my hair.
I
I got
know.
it on. Yeah, purple. If
Yeah,
you.
so and my question for you is because you kind of got the cool thing going with natural color hair, then you highlight it with some colors,
Yeah.
which is that the normal color you like to use the most?
Yeah, the purple this time around
Is that
isn't as
hard to do?
vibrant.
I've
It
always wanted to
is.
ask.
I have a fabulous hairstylist.
Okay, so you have somebody who can do it for you. You
Yes.
don't do it yourself.
I have tried. I do not do it as well as she does, but I can do little go betweens by between the times I see her.
Yeah, just to touch it up.
Yeah.
Well, it looks cool.
Thank you.
I always kind of like it. I like when people kind of put their personality on themselves, and do what they feel comfortable within their skin doing, which I think is a
Yeah.
compliment to them because it shows strong self-esteem to me that people are willing to experiment with their looks, and it looks really good. And
Thanks.
and it's you. If you came in
Yeah.
plain, we'd all stand up and go,
Yeah.
"Okay, what's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
Right?
I have people from everywhere, just everywhere from walking into the grocery store
Right.
to, I have little kids at church coming up to me going, my grandma saw you with your pink hair in the bathroom. I mean, just crazy things, but it gets me noticed, and it's
Yeah.
something that I can do that shows my creativity and my vibrance and my passion without being unprofessional.
And the cool thing is you've been posting lately. Of course, we're friends on Facebook, but you've
Right.
been posting some nice portraits of yourself, and I've seen some pictures.
Yeah.
So you get to see what it looks like. So it's right up your alley in your business too.
Yeah.
You got to be
yeah.
hip and cool to be in video and photography, right? You got to
Right.
be kind of different.
Yeah, and it's Austin, so you got to keep it
And
weird too.
definitely. But you got a T-shirt on. It
I
says
do.
photographer. And what is that definition? A person who dedicates their life to the pursuit of making temporary moments last forever. One will spend hours a day editing a single photo. If that's what it takes, if the majority of one's money will go right back into feeling their passion for capturing the perfect moment.
Yeah.
God, what a great definition of photography.
Yeah, I saw that and I loved it.
I like it. And favorite band.
Favorite band is Casting Crowns.
And matter of fact,
Yeah.
what'd you do? No, we can't say it.
No.
Okay, so you're looking forward to seeing them again someday?
Yes.
Okay,
They're,
cool.
They're coming in May, and I'm hoping
Now,
that we get to go.
they're a good Christian band.
Yes,
Do
they
you
are.
also have some other music that you get drawn to? Like, what's your genre? Do you care? Are you country? Do you like old classic
No.
rock and roll? Do you like classical?
I usually
Jazz?
Okay, so this is a live radio and it's going to be recorded. So I'm just going to lay it all out there. When I'm editing, I'm either listening to Christian music or I I have two different Disney Pandora stations that I listen to, like,
Awesome.
Mulan, Little Mermaid,
Hmm.
and I am singing, and I love singing, so I'm just
You're
there
just
editing and
playing,
singing,
yeah,
and I'm a big kid at heart, so I love Disney movies. I always cry.
yeah, and there's a lot of
So
good ones out.
there is. There is.
So awesome. And I was going to ask you the next question is what kind of favorite movie have you? What one
Hmm.
gets your attention, even from your childhood? Doesn't matter which
Oh
one.
gosh.
If you were to watch it over and over, would you pick? Or is there too many?
Oh gosh. There's a whole lot.
So the Disney movies obviously are.
Yeah, Disney movies. I love, you know, the Princess Bride is a great one. Um,
Hey, you know what my
what are
favorite one
they?
is?
Yeah.
Anyone where they spend the first 15 minutes watching the little squirrel chase the stupid nut on trying to capture the nut.
The Ice
I'm
Age
sorry.
series.
I'm sorry.
Those are great.
Funniest darn thing in the world is to watch. It almost reminds me
Yes.
of the Roadrunner. You're right. No matter what
Yes.
he does, he's not going to get that stupid nut.
Oh, poor thing.
That poor thing. So that's cool. All right. So you feeling better now?
A little bit,
All
yeah.
right. Hey, guys, once again, thanks to our sponsors out there. You guys, we're glad to have you back. I'm glad to be back on the air. And the reason I'm glad to be back on the air is because I miss it when I
Oh,
had to
yeah.
take off. All right. So you ready to get started? Let's help some people.
All right.
All right. So name your business. Let's get your website first. Let's get that out there to our listeners.
The name of my business is Dazzling Light Photography, and my website is dazzlinglightphoto.com. You can also find me on Twitter at DazzLightPhoto or on Facebook at Dazzling Light Photography.
And what I'm going to do for you there on that custom player, there's
Hmm.
a social tab I can click. I will go and link all your Twitter, your YouTube, whatever you have, your
I
YouTube,
have it
your
all.
Facebook. I will link every single one of those so that people, when they listen to the show after and you start sharing it,
Hmm.
can go add themselves right to the player to all your custom sites.
Thank
How
you.
cool is that?
That is
All right.
awesome.
So, how long have you been doing photography?
I have been doing photography pretty much my whole life.
Yeah.
I remember starting it when I was about 5 or so. I remember my dad would set up the shots, and then I would get to, feel all important and click the little button.
Now, was that part of your family? Was photography built into your
No,
family, or is this just something you played with as a kid? You just love cameras.
yeah, my dad is a hobbyist, and he really enjoys it. And one of his good friends, who's also my godfather, he was a professor and did it professionally at one time as well. And so between the
Cool.
two of them, I just really kind of fell into it, just really passionate about it.
And so you've got in this paragraph that you did a portrait session, like in your backyard. So what is that?
Yes,
Describe that. What does that mean?
I remember doing all sorts of portrait sessions, every
Fake
it's
setups and getting everything set up
yeah,
and
well,
make
like my
that's
friends
cool.
would come over and, put on my clothes, and we would pin them so they would fit right, and then we'd go out in the backyard, and, I'd try and post them, and I still have those too
Isn't that
somewhere.
awesome?
Yeah,
And so
and
that's how
it's
you get
great.
into something. And
Yeah.
so now you get to do it professionally. So that's cool. So
Yeah.
you grew up with a camera, so to speak, kind of,
Yeah.
sort of, when you felt like playing with it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I remember I would I would spend some of my allowance on getting the film developed, and
Yep.
I bought my first professional, or not professional, but my first film SLR camera where I could change the lenses when I was about 14.
Woohoo! Wow.
And so we took that to Canada with us when we went on vacation, and we went to all these botanical gardens, and it was just great. I have all those pictures still, and it was just a great memory, and
Yeah, and
solidifying a
so every
passion.
time you go back and look at those, it reminds you of that time, and that which is really cool about
Hmm.
photography, right? And that
Yeah.
reminds me to this. What did you, besides the portraits in the backyard, what
Hmm.
did you really like to shoot with that camera? What was your favorite scenes? Was it more like gardens and scenes and forests
Yeah.
and rocks and creeks and trees, or was it
I
people?
I joke with people that my passion is really um, landscapes and animals and anything that doesn't talk back to me.
Sunset.
Yes, Arizona has beautiful
Oh yeah,
sunsets.
you could get a different look
So,
every
oh
day.
yeah, I would um, I would photograph the lightning because we have monsoons in Arizona, so we get a lot of really beautiful lightning storms as well. So I would sit under our
Deck,
carport,
hopefully.
and yes,
Yeah.
sit under our carport and have the uh, little tripod going. So it was really really fun. And my parents have always encouraged me. They were never, oh, don't take that many pictures. Just, hey, if you take the pictures, you get to develop them, and you got to have the money for that. So that's,
And you know
you
what?
know,
And nowadays with being digital, you don't have
hmm
to go through taking them to Walgreens
exactly.
or Walmart or back then even the Kodak store
Yeah, or the grocery
or the
store.
grocery store
Yeah,
and getting them developed and having to pay an arm and a leg to come get them a week later,
yeah,
right? It's just
exactly.
unbelievable how much it's changed
It
in
really
not
has.
the too far distant past, right? So
Yeah.
that's cool. All right. So um, one one of the other questions that you and I think this is a good question because there's lots of photographers.
hmm
And what separates you from the other professional photographers in your field of what you're trying to accomplish?
Well, Hardy, a lot of the photographers, especially in the Austin area, because we're so arts and tech heavy,
Yep.
um, a lot of them are part time. They're moms or dads or parents who go, hey, I have a camera and I have a passion for this, and hey, I'm pretty good. Let's do this. I am full time. Um, I devote every moment that I can to my clients. And when I say that I bend over backwards, I really do.
Yeah, and I think the point was this the
you
point where
know,
you wanted we were talking this morning at the network group saying,
yeah.
and I have the same problem.
hmm
Okay, and that is, a lot of people have these cameras today,
Right.
and there's nothing wrong with taking digital pictures, and there's nothing wrong. But if you really want something done, that extra right,
hmm
the professional portrait, the way that it's set up, the way that people look in those pictures, and the time it takes to set up the set around them and get the lighting right and everything,
Right.
huge difference,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
And camera does make a difference,
It does to an extent,
right?
but I've had several people, even just in the past month, just friends, and they don't mean it in any disrespect,
Right,
but they'll
right.
say something like, "Oh, wow, you know, your camera is so great. It takes great pictures." And I just simply laugh and I just say, "Thanks. I taught it everything it knows."
Right.
Because a real artistic portrait
Uh-huh.
is what happens on either side of the camera. It's that
Right.
relationship you build with your client,
Right.
and when you hire a professional, I think in any trade, you're hiring someone who has taken the time to educate themselves and to really focus on that trade. So instead of just I'm relying on my camera and this technology and I'm clicking a button, it's I know the composition, I know how to pose you
You
and
know how to set the color setting up for the time of day. You know how to set
exactly.
to set up the background so that it blends in, and
Right.
and I guess a lot of people um, don't know all that because they don't have the hands-on experience that you learn from doing things over and over. I tell
Right.
people all the time. I tell them the same thing. I don't that video when I take it and put it in the computer, it's raw clips.
Mhm.
And you can shoot that too, but
Yeah.
it's not that that makes it good. What makes it good is what you do with it when you get your hands on it and start editing
Right.
it and start polishing it and start putting the story together, right?
Right.
Same
Exactly.
thing. And
Exactly.
so, okay, so why should somebody hire? Did we miss anything in that section? Is there anything you want to fill in? Did I miss anything in that gap right there? Or did I do a pretty good job being a
No, it
host
did
so
pretty
far?
good.
All right, so why? And I guess this is a good why question. Why hire a professional? And my friend has a great camera. I know we just talked about that a little bit,
Right.
but what things does a professional bring to the table? Is there kind of a list of things in your head that you kind of let people know? I mean, you bring lighting. I'm
Yeah.
talking about stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, when you hire a professional, you're hiring someone who has invested hundreds of hours in training and, you know, thousands of dollars in equipment. And it's not just, oh, I have a good camera. It's, you know, all the other things that go along with it.
Sure.
You know, people nowadays are like, oh, yeah, you can just Photoshop that. Yeah, I can because I've been using Photoshop since I was,
Since it
12 or
was
15 or,
since it came out.
I've been using Photoshop since I
Right.
was a teenager
Right.
and really learning, Photoshop's a huge iceberg to learn.
Right.
And just anyone going, oh, yeah, sure, Photoshop. Now it's the norm of what you say, but there's really a lot behind that. So
Absolutely.
when
The
you
tools are crazy if you understand how to use them.
yes, so when you hire a professional, you know, for me, this is my art. So this is what I do, 28 hours of the
And
day.
I was going to say, you're going to see things that ordinarily people that experience don't see. You'll
Right.
see like the plug behind them, or maybe you'll
Mhm.
see a wire or a light flare on the
Sticking
top
out of
of
their
the
head.
standing on a section, or
Yep.
maybe a door's got a glare on it, or
Mhm.
maybe they're shooting their camera into an open window and they've got silhouetting.
Right.
So you've got all these things that people don't even think about because they don't have the experience, right?
Exactly.
Whether it's soft lighting, or they want to have a harder look, or they want to
Right.
have a softer eye or a brighter eye. I mean, and you can help with Photoshop really fix that up too if it
Exactly.
needs to be right.
Right.
So you can erase stuff and
I
smooth
can.
stuff out and
I do a lot of head swappings on like things like pet photography and
right.
where it's families with pets. We've got great picture of a family looking at me, but the dog's looking off to the side, and then baby's crying and the dog's looking at me, and so it's my job
Yeah, because we're going to
to
get into what she really likes to shoot in a minute. You're going to understand what she's talking about. But yeah, there's all sorts of distractions.
yeah.
People head cocked maybe, and they don't realize it when you're shooting them because they maybe have a neck or something, or maybe it's
Mhm.
turned too far sideways, and keeping the chin out
Right.
and learning all these little tricks to make somebody look good
Exactly.
instead of just turning the camera at yourself and going selfie.
Exactly.
All right, so you have a real niche, I believe. I know you'll do a lot of different photography, but
Yeah.
what you really like to focus on is, and before we answer that question, we
Mhm.
want our listeners to sit tight for a minute because I'm going
Yep.
to thank two sponsors. And then
Absolutely.
when we come back, we're going to talk to Donna about what she focuses on. And I think you guys that are listening not only to the live show tonight, but the ones that will be listening to this on archive will be amazed what she does. So we'll be right back. Okay, so let me thank two of our other sponsors, if you don't mind. Uh, Good old Jerry's Garage, Brown Rock,
Love them.
Todd Frank. Been in business since 1967, 30 years family owned business. Well, when you've been in business 30 years and you're family owned, it means you have a pretty good reputation. Not only do they work on foreign and domestic, they do full transmission repair. And what I like about how I asked Todd, I said, Todd, somebody comes in, transmission's not working correctly. What do you tell them? You're going to take it apart, then give them a price? He goes, nope, that's not what we do. What we do is we tell them what it costs to fully replace it. That's worst case,
Mhm.
so that before we tear it down, they're not surprised if we come back and say it is the full thing. But if we get in there and find out it might just be a torque converter, or it might be a seal, or it might just need to be cleaned really good and put back together, then they know the worst case. And when they get the good news, generally, unless it's a super old car and it's just run out of its time, then that's a good thing. And a lot of shops don't do that.
Right.
They'll take it apart and tell you, well, that's going to be $4,000, and you're going, well, you didn't tell me that. And well, we got parts laying on the ground, so what do you
Yeah.
want to do? So, been in a business. You can find them on the web at Jerry's Garage, JERRYS hyphen garage.com, Jerry's hyphen garage.com. Go check them out. Round Rock, Texas. They're slam dunk. They always are. They're always busy. If anybody's had their car fixed over there, you'll
Mhm.
be completely surprised just how full that is. And by the way, that street now is named Jerry's Garage with a stop sign at the end.
Yep.
I heard the story. We're going to lose the sign, but I've got it on all this stuff. So we
Yeah.
really do have a sign. All right. And then I want to thank one of my coach friends. My coach, actually, personal coach, is Danielle Smith. It's daniellesmith.com. He's a guerrilla. He's a guerrilla marketing coach. He's John Maxwell certified. He is my personal coach. And if you're in business for yourself, or if you're thinking about growth, and everybody, and you know this because you work with one yourself,
Mhm. Yep.
um, is going to have a personal coach, in my opinion, at some point in their business to have direction and to make sure that we have somebody looking from the inside back into us to see, because we get stuck in our own way sometimes,
Yes.
right? So go check out daniellesmith.com, daniellesmith.com. He's got everything up there. He does a lot of guerrilla marketing. He's got a Stop Wasting Handshakes program, but right now he's working on an empowerment program that's going to be a 12 to week session, webinars with follow-ups and everything, and they're fantastic. So go check it out. All right, we're back.
Okay.
See, that's my commercial breaks. They're kind of like shout outs because the thing I wish they do on Hangouts,
Mhm.
Donna, is I wish that they would allow us to upload MP3 files,
Oh yeah,
preload them, and
yeah.
then play them anytime during the show. But that's the way it goes.
Well,
That's all
Google,
radio.
listen up.
Hey, listen, you guys listen up. All right, so we left off with, let's give them your website again, because late listeners coming in or people coming in, let's tell them where they can find you on the web.
My website is dazzlinglightphoto.com.
Go check it out. Contact her. Get some pictures made. But okay, so here's something that I like. The type of photography that you focus on, and I think this is going to be a great story.
So, type of photography that I do, I love building relationships with my clients. That is, my tagline is, it's not just photography, it's an experience. And I want relationships with my clients that are going to last for years. So
Yep.
I like starting with maternity and going all the way through high school seniors.
Okay, so explain that in
Okay.
detail, because that is so cool. So let's say I come to you and I'm pregnant. No, I'm really not. But you know what I'm saying. I'm using me as an example.
Right.
Come on, listeners, lay off. All right. And so, all right. So, and then you do what with them?
So we have a program called our Keepsake Collections Baby Program that goes from maternity through the first year. So they pay an upfront cost to join. They get discounts on the products and the prints that they get. And we capture the baby's milestones from maternity, newborn, 3, 6, and 12 months.
That's awesome.
And so it's totally stress-free for the family. I send out emails and reminders that month. They say, hey, little Junior's going to be 3 months old. It's time to schedule their session.
Yeah, so you set up an autoresponder kind of response in advance, so they keep them on track.
And we do as much or as little on location as needed. I'm very flexible with my clients. I know sometimes, it's hard to take a newborn out of the house.
Yep.
But I do have a small studio at my house as well that my clients will bring
they can come bring it to you. So either way, you're capturing these moments from beginning to 12 months, right? But you can do the same thing for other kids growing up too, right? Meaning it's from ages 4 to 10, to just depending if they're going to be around or if you're still in the same city, but for a couple years or something. That's just awesome.
So after the first year, then the kids are still changing so much. So I have a growing graduates program that they can transfer into that goes from 18 months to 5 years.
That's awesome.
And it's great because at the end of these programs, you get framed products that are finished, ready to hang on your wall memories.
And they don't have any stress of having to remember to take these and not slapping themselves upside the head 10 years from now saying, I wish we'd done this and gotten this nice timeline of this child.
Right.
That's just awesome.
Yeah.
So is that the only thing that you shoot?
No. I love shooting dogs.
Oh, you do not?
With a camera. With a camera.
I'm
Only with a camera. I'm a really huge dog person, and I joke with people that I tolerate cats, but cats can be nice too for all of you cat lovers out there.
So you'll shoot pets depending on the pet.
I love, I've done, I did some when we were at SeaWorld. I got some really great ones of the dolphins.
Cool. Up close?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I have a really good one. But pet-wise, domestic pets. Dogs are usually
like
what
Rusty,
clients. Yes.
Laying here between us, our Australian Shepherd. That's cool.
So most people will bring dogs to a shoot over cats. So I have more experience with dogs, and they'll bring them out to the park, and we'll get some really great portraits of, the kids and the dogs, and so.
And what is so a client calls you within this question, right? And wants to go through this program, right? We'll talk about discounts and all that later. What I want to know is, do you sit down with them first and try to get some information? Do you have an assessment? What sort of questions are you going to be proposed to them?
Absolutely. So
clothing, dress, look, all that stuff.
So I always do a pre-consultation before any session, whether it's a newborn session or a family portrait session or anything.
Right.
Before I shoot my camera, we have a pre-consultation sit-down meeting. 9 times out of 10, I come to my client's home. If they have kids, we do it later in the evening so the kids can be in bed. I'm totally flexible with that because,
it's their time and their money, and that's what you need, and that's part of what you have to do.
I prepare a packet for them, a folder of what to wear, what the pricing options are, tips and tricks
Right.
for getting the best out of your portrait session, and what to expect during, after, so
So it's
forth.
good. So they get the
Hmm.
full upfront
Yes,
details of what's going on, and then you guys, do you help with some of the color with them? Do you help us make
absolutely.
suggestions based on the look and everything? Because
Yes.
you want things to blend. You want things to look smooth and not rough, right?
Right.
So
So what I do is I bring my tablet with me, and if you are on Pinterest, like I am on almost 24/7, you can check out Dazzling Light Photography on Pinterest. I have 4 what to wear boards. I have it broken
oh,
down
cool. So you've got
into,
examples of it.
yes, absolutely. So what we
Ah,
do is I have a tablet, and if you're on Pinterest at all, you might be familiar with their secret boards where
yeah,
you can,
private boards or
yes,
secret boards,
yes. So
right?
you can create a board on Pinterest that not everyone can see, but you can invite certain people. So a lot of my clients are on Pinterest as well. So I create a secret board for their session, invite them so they can pin their ideas. I can pin my ideas. That way when
So
we
you're working
shoot,
on kind of
we
this
have the
like
same
you're
page.
working on some of this collaborative platform. YouTube
Exactly.
has an unlisted, same as that
Right.
too. So if you want to share it back and show it before you upload it and get their permission,
Right.
that's cool. So
Exactly.
you can shoot the pictures, upload them to the private board, send them over to them so they can look at it and vice versa and back
Well,
and
this is more for the pre-consultation, getting
right.
to know
That's what
what
I'm
their
saying
style
to
is.
show them
Right,
different things, right?
right. I
So
don't put their images up on Pinterest until after they've already seen them.
you're right, and they're
But
happy
yes,
with them and done, right? But
exactly.
the bottom line is, this is how she can work with you and give them
Right.
some ideas.
And
That's
we go
awesome.
over clothing. I've had everything from, clients who know exactly what they're going to wear and,
It doesn't matter
do
what
it
you say, right? They've already got to pick that, and that's
well.
the
And
way it's going.
most of my clients do really well because
They get
I
it.
prep them ahead of time. And in that packet, I have outfits that I pick out as well, just color combinations
Awesome.
that go well together.
Okay.
Um, I've also had clients who go, I have no idea what to wear. Come in my closet and help me. And they've pulled me
And that's
into their
cool too,
closet
because you
and,
can see, like I
you know,
said, you want photography to blend and be smooth,
exactly,
and that's the words I use too. By
yeah,
the way, we want this to all look smooth,
exactly.
and so wearing a zebra shirt that's going to reflect is, I'm just saying, or stripes or something. It's just
Yes,
not going to do good for the camera, right?
right. So I do my best to help prepare the clients and show them with my expertise what will look best.
Right.
And that way, when they see their images, like you said, it looks smooth, it's put together,
Yep.
it
And I've
coordinates.
seen them. I've seen them. They look great. I mean,
Thank you.
she's a great photographer, and you guys, if you're listening to this show on the archive after the live show, you need to sit down with her and take a look at her work, because she's good at what she does.
Appreciate
A
that.
lot of experience.
Yeah.
You can tell it in your work. Okay, so let's talk about. You mentioned our crack staff and producers came up with another question for you, and I'm laughing because you're the producer,
Yes.
and that is, what kind of you have some discount programs? Do you,
Yeah.
because some of this stuff's long term, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how's that work?
Um, so like I mentioned before, we were talking about the baby program that's
Right.
called the Keepsake Collections Baby Program. That covers maternity through 1 year, and like I mentioned before, it takes the stress out of everything. By the time the mom goes into the hospital to have the baby, she knows exactly, you know, who my photographer is. I've already had my maternity session. We already have
That's
the
awesome.
due date, so we know about when the newborn session's going to be, and
Yep.
I'm always on call for my clients. So if the baby's late or early, we can adjust accordingly because we want to get that newborn session right about 5 days old
Yeah,
because
that's
that's the
awesome.
best. So
Good for you.
when they enter that program, they get all of those sessions, plus they get an additional discount on additional products and prints that
Yeah,
they
because
that
as
they
the
get.
relationship grows with them,
Exactly.
Donna, I would imagine that you've got some built-in things you can offer
Hmm.
them and help them with if they want to get more of this, less than this,
Right.
bigger one than this, or go longer. That's you're
Hmm.
in business to help take photography, so you have packages and things you can offer them inside of it too. That's awesome.
Right. And we talked about my Growing Graduates program as well, that after the baby turns a year old, those are the Growing Graduates program is for
18 to
18
5
months to
years.
5 years.
That's awesome.
And then I also do senior high school representatives.
Right.
So I try and get two representatives from each high school around the area, and the representatives go in and they're, endorsing my business. They get free sessions. They can earn an entire 2-hour session for free as well. They get referral bonuses and free items. So it's a really great way for seniors to get involved as well.
Now, I have a question that's not on here
Uh-oh.
before we get the next one, and that is, what will you not shoot? Because I get this all the time. I have to state what I don't shoot,
Yeah.
right? And while you're thinking, I'll tell you what I don't do. I don't shoot workshops and seminars, long things,
Yeah,
because I don't have time to sit there and film something for an hour and then have to edit 10 hours of it. You know what I'm saying?
exactly,
So,
exactly.
what do you not shoot?
So currently, I really don't shoot events and weddings.
You're like me. Okay.
I'm, people don't really realize how much of a difference in equipment you need
Oh,
for weddings and events versus portrait photography. Um, because when you're an expert, you make it look so easy.
you got that right.
And it really isn't. It really
Right.
takes a lot to go photograph a wedding or an event
Yes, it
and
does.
have the right lighting and the off-camera flash and the photo booth setup and so forth. So right now, since I still am a one-woman show, I really don't feel like I could give my clients the absolute best.
Yeah. Right.
I have shot weddings before for friends and family, and I always do it with a disclaimer of I'm a portrait photographer. This is my gift to you. But um, I have also had clients who, have come to me through the years and gone, "Hey, I'm getting married. I really, really want this." And if that's the case, I take it on a case by case basis. But I
Right.
don't
But
I
you
don't
always
advertise
disclaim
that
this
I
is,
really
hey, listen, equipment's
exactly.
different. You're not going to get what you might get if you pay this, right?
Exactly. And I always encourage them to seek out an actual wedding
Yeah,
photographer, because this is a day that you cannot get back. I can say, "Hey, it was raining and we need to reschedule this." Rather than it's your wedding day. If something happens and you're not satisfied with those images, we can't call everybody back and go, "Hey, let's reshoot the
yeah, I
wedding."
feel the same way. I don't have the equipment to
Yeah.
shoot a long version wedding. Not the right high definition cameras, not the more expensive ones, because I shoot short clips for a
Yeah.
small business, and that's a whole. And you got to have longer battery packs. You got to
Oh yeah.
have better kind of lenses. You got to have audio set
Mhm.
up correctly at mic so that it's picked up
Right.
through microphones, and that's the stuff I don't mess with in
Yeah.
my short shoots. So I
Exactly.
always tell them you're going to go find a wedding
Mhm.
videographer, or you're going to be really mad. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So somebody wants to schedule with you. They want to use your service, and there's some prep time. So
Yes.
what generally is a normal time for you to tell your clients to be thinking about scheduling their session? When do you want, 3 weeks before, 4 weeks before?
Yeah, typically we schedule about 3 to 4 weeks in advance. That gives them time. That's from them contacting me saying, "Hey, I'm interested in a session," to us doing the pre-consultation. They'll have time to, uh,
Location,
yeah, location, get
props.
their clothing together. If it's a senior, they can choose their props. Even families, they'll bring, little chalkboard signs or things like that, especially for Christmas,
Right.
holiday portraits. Um,
And
you
if
know,
they want to get makeup and haircuts and
hmm
all this stuff and get ready for that, then that's part of that too. You
exactly.
want to make sure that's all done. 'Cause you
Right.
want to look your best. Is
Absolutely.
that right?
Absolutely.
What did we miss?
For the
Oh, you
maternity and
booked.
newborn.
Okay. Hmm.
So for maternity and newborn, we definitely need to schedule more than 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
For maternity, we want the 6th or 7th month of pregnancy. We want that nice round belly, but we don't want mom so exhausted and just
that she
ready to
can't
get this baby out.
that she can't
Yeah,
get relaxed enough to
you
make
know,
them look good.
and
Right.
and
So
we
you do that case by you play that by
exactly,
ear too, don't you?
exactly.
Okay. Let's catch you when you're still feeling good and not ready to shoot me,
Yes,
right? Or throw me
literally
across
shoot
the
me.
room, right?
Yes,
Okay, cool. So 6 to 7 months from maternity, right? You really want to start talking to them about that. Then 3 or 4 weeks prep on your normal stuff
right.
gives people time to get ready. So people
Yeah,
forget that when you're getting ready to have a photography shoot, you do want to get your hair cut. You do want to have nice clothes. You do want to have new makeup if it's a lady. If it's
right.
a guy, you probably don't want to be like me, and you probably want to shave and probably look your best. You know, the older
Right,
you get, the worse you get. So all that fun stuff, right?
right.
And you can make people uh, that are aged, if you want to smooth out stuff in the
Oh
editing, you
yeah,
can take
absolutely.
Photoshop and get nice wrinkles off and really
Yeah,
make somebody look themselves without changing their look. And I think that's
exactly.
an important point.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't take out wrinkles completely. I
No,
don't
because it's
change it
part of the
because
natural look,
exactly,
right?
it's part of them. And not only does it make it look plastic, but that doesn't portray who they really are.
And I
And
think that's important because
yeah,
people may not like how they look, but what they don't understand is the people that see them every day, it doesn't bother them
no,
as much as it does the person. I go
right.
through the same darn thing,
Yeah.
believe me, okay?
And I mean, what I'm capturing, it literally is every click of the button is a time capsule that you're
Right.
capturing to remember. And I love looking through my parents' memory albums. I mean, they were really great about every single year, you know,
Getting a picture.
putting an album together of
That's
all
cool.
of the family memories of vacations and everything. It
That's
doesn't
cool.
matter if it was a snapshot or a professional portrait that we had. We have those, and I love being able to see, what my parents looked like before I was born and when they got married, and that's really what my art is all about.
And so the other question I have, and I don't see it on here, we'll get to it. We're going to have to hustle along because time is going really fast.
Okay.
But my other question to you is, what kind of ways do you deliver the pictures to them? Can they get albums? Do you do custom
Yeah,
albums and you outsource that, or do you do it yourself, or do you do framing? Do you do custom framing? Do you have people do that if they need it, or you just tell them where to go?
we
And I mean
I
that in a
do
good way, where to
right.
go get the frames,
hmm
not where to go.
I do all of the above. So I have a great set of photography professional labs that I use,
Okay,
um, and I design everything. So when I show my clients their images for the first time, I create a slideshow to music. I dim the lights
that's
after,
awesome.
and after all of their images, I have customized products that I've already created with their images. So there's no wondering, I wonder what my image would look like in this collage. It's
Yeah,
it's already there. So it gives them an idea, and I get those ideas from our pre-consultation showing them different styles. So I
right.
already have an idea of what style they're looking for. I show them, you know, any family session I do, I show holiday cards, whether it's January or November, because the sooner they get it done, the better.
Right, and
um,
that's cool.
so everything from albums. I've got these great little accordion mini albums. They're 3 by 3
Yeah, you
squares,
brought one. You showed us
and
a network group. I thought that was cool.
they're amazing because my lab gets to keep the cost low for me, and I get to say pass that on to
Right.
my clients. And it is probably one of the biggest sellers because they come in sets of 3. So mom gets to keep one and send one to each of the grandmas, and there's your gift. And
That's a good gift.
yeah,
And the cool, that's what I'm saying. So you do get questions for best ways to
hmm
organize these, because that's because with these digital pictures today and portraits and
right,
people wanting to have them some sort of format. I guess you can even put pictures in the video format if you wanted to, and like you said, the slideshow now with
right,
music
and
and stuff that they wanted a video keepsake too. So you got
right,
all these tools
yeah,
you can help with.
yep.
Okay. This is a good question. I like this question, and I'm glad you brought it because I understand where it's coming from. And what do you find is the best time of day? And I know you're going to say I can do it any time, but what is the best time of the day to generally
Yeah.
do your video photography shoots, portrait
So
shoots?
the best time, since I shoot, 99% outdoors on location, is about an hour to an hour and a half right before sunset. Many people know it as the golden hour.
Good light.
Sometimes it's more like the golden half hour because of how fast the sun goes down. So, it's my job to know that and to plan accordingly. So we go out, we get some really nice even lighting.
Yeah, that's a perfect time of day to shoot
Yeah,
anything,
it
really.
really is. And so normally that's when we schedule our sessions is
There's no
late
glare
afternoon.
behind anything. It's all subtle and
Mhm.
pastel is what I call it.
Yeah,
I love that time of day to shoot stuff.
it brings out a lot of the colors in nature
Hmm.
that normally, if we're just walking in a park, we may not notice, but the camera
It
captures.
captures the brightness of. Have you ever noticed sometimes it's okay to shoot on a cloudy day? Do you like
Oh, absolutely.
because you get such the background always looks so good.
Yes, the clouds work as a big diffuser
Filter,
for the
just like the
sun.
umbrellas that
Yes,
you set up around your photography
so
equipment. That's cool.
that's nice. I'm still trying to get a direct line to the man upstairs about, hey, I need a cloudy day on this day. I'm still working on that,
Well, just
but
don't do that in July and August because it'll
right.
do you absolutely no good to
No,
beg for because
no,
it's not going to see a clown.
yeah. But I do have a lot of locations where even if we need to do it earlier in the day, I know where a lot of shade is
Yeah,
and
yeah,
things like
I
that
got it.
to where we can still do it. But that's preferable because then we also get the sunset.
And
So
that's
it's
things.
nice.
That's that experience I was talking about. We talked about at the beginning of the show,
Hmm.
where the best times to get the best picture that's going to make the best portrait that's going to be something they really care about is just because you know how color works and the right
Right.
time of the day. God really blessed us with morning, noon, and
Yes,
evening, right? Okay.
absolutely.
All right. So now let's face it, it rains. You do a lot outdoor shooting
Yep.
in your photography. So if it does rain, you do have, I guess, a studio backup for those kind of days if that's necessary, or just
Yeah.
reschedule the time.
Normally we reschedule
Right.
if it's just a family session where, okay, well
And there's not a
next week
deadline.
exactly. If it's more of, hey, I've come in from town and it's raining, we will find an indoor location. I have a studio that's completely portable. I have my home studio as well for individual portraits or newborns.
Yep.
It's pretty teeny still, but it's growing. So a huge family I wouldn't be able to do there, but more than likely we would find another location. I've gone to clients' houses before, and nice beautiful staircase
Yeah,
or
you just find
fireplace.
something that works
Hmm.
within it. So
Absolutely.
if Purdy wanted to come out, get some new headshots for the new stuff he's producing next year, I'm gonna come to you. We'll probably do it at your studio,
Right.
right? And I might get one outdoor shot just to have
Right.
that look of outdoor. But yeah, I'll plan on doing that with you next year. All right, cool. So, um, do you sell? This is a good question. There's a lot of people out there when they shoot photography, right? They
Hmm.
create their own kind of online store for their digital
Right.
photography. Like they may shoot landscapes and
Hmm.
then have people sell because they may want to use it in some magazine. And do
Right.
you sell digital photography? Do you go out and shoot on your own just to capture a media library to sell, or do you do that?
I do. I have my Etsy store,
Okay.
which is just my fine art. So all of my bluebonnet pictures and, animals and flowers
Can
and
people buy them and use them commercially, or do you have strict guidelines for what they can and can't do with those pictures?
those are for personal use.
Okay,
So I
great.
sell prints, but I do custom orders as well. I've had uh, clients from all over the US contact me and say, hey, I really like this image. Can we put this quote on it? Can you frame it for me and send it? And so I'll give them a custom quote for that. But it's more personal display in your home and office.
Yeah, so the print, it's an actual print of itself. You don't put the photography out and say you can use this in
Right,
a video
exactly.
slide. You just want them to buy the print and that.
Right.
And then do you get those prints done through a particular person? Do you make those prints yourself, or
I
do you
still
send
send
them
those.
out to a certain size? And can you stretch those out and make them bigger with this HD, or do you have to shoot them in a real large size to get a bigger print? Are they a certain size? I
No.
guess what I'm asking you is what size generally do people want in print?
In prints,
Anything, right?
um,
Because it's digital if you shoot it large enough, right?
oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
because everything.
When you know how to use your equipment,
That's what I'm saying.
you can, these cameras now, 24 megapixels or something, you can
Oh,
put that on
geez.
a billboard.
That
But generally, as far as portraits go, um, if they want on a CD, that usually uh, comes in my packages in my collections
and that's
that
a
are
more of a
included.
converted down, or do you leave it on full size and you put it on there?
When they purchase that, it's a full resolution,
That's cool.
and they also get a gift of the social media image, so they get a little bit
So
lower
they don't have to
resolution.
have the super large one
Yeah,
that's spread out across the whole world, and
right,
they get the one that fits on there on the timeline.
right, and then they get what's called a print release, so that way they have this little certificate that they can take where they want to get it printed. And normally when I sell the digitals, I go through with the client and I try and educate them on what the places around town, what they look like. So,
Yeah.
and what the best place in my recommendation as a professional would be if you're going to get it, that print not through me.
Yeah, and now that leads me to another question. Because you're in the digital world and it's automatic that you can create prints. Have
Hmm.
you ever had requests from clients to create a banner with the picture in it, or a banner with some of your family pictures that maybe go
Oh
on
yeah,
Facebook? So you can
that's
you can size it to the dimensions
that's
for those
one thing.
social sites.
That's one thing that I actually gift my clients with
Okay.
is when I put up those social media images. I put those up on my Facebook page and I tag my clients in them so they can download them. And I also
Wow,
create
messing
two.
with the privacy stuff. Huh? No, I'm
I I
kidding.
create I create two or three Facebook timeline covers. So all they literally have to do is download that image and put it back on their Facebook timeline and it's already sized, ready to go. So it's perfect when they
That's
put it up.
awesome. Guys, we've been listening to Donna McMurray with Dazzling Light Photography, and we are within about 5 minutes of this show. Time flies. I tell my guests all the time they can't believe it. We're actually going to get to
Oh
the
yeah.
to a final question, uh, but I wanted to again thank all my sponsors. As you well know, we can't take all 12 sponsors and do 2 minute infomercials. It takes away from giving the business that's on the opportunity to have their own info show. But my sponsors know, and I'm mentioning them again because I think it's important that they get to be on. Write the custom player and links to their website. You just got a text, and it's kind of funny. Everybody's been listening in, haven't they?
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
liking it.
My
Thank you.
husband texted me. I just read it.
And he said, "Yep, you sound great." He's that
He
dork
did.
across from you.
Uh,
No, I'm just kidding.
he was commenting on the movies and he said Toothless for the Win, which is How to
Oh,
Train
there
Your
you. Okay, that's cool.
Dragon.
All right, good.
So,
So see how the
yes.
world of technology works. We're sitting here. We've got listeners, and her husband has to be one of them. And he texts her back, and now we're describing the earlier question
Yes.
was, "What movies do you like?" And he threw his 2 cents in. So there's your
Yep,
communication
there you
in
go.
today's world, right? All right. So let's wrap up.
Okay.
Briefly, what comes with generally your collection?
Okay.
And how do you accept transactions? A lot of people may want to
Oh
know
yeah.
that. What do you accept as far as payment?
So cash, always great.
Right?
I do accept checks and I take all credit cards as
And you
well.
do Square,
Uh-huh.
PayPal,
I
all
do
those.
I do PayPal. I'm not plugged in with Square. I use the PayPal version
That's
of it.
fine.
That's
That's
fine.
fine. That's fine.
But and I do payment programs as well
Yep.
because I realize that this is a big investment that you're
Yes.
making and then I want to reward that because you're investing in your family and that's
Absolutely.
very important. So I do offer payment programs for my clients and we work it out. If I know that a client is really valuing what I'm doing and really wanting this, then we make it work.
And you know what? When you're dealing with families or small business or anybody, you've got to give them options. You don't
Mhm.
want to lose them, and it
Absolutely.
benefits you to keep them as a client because you never know, they may be the one that gives you 30 referrals or 2 referrals or
Absolutely.
20 over a lifetime. I mean, so take care of them and help them out
Yes.
without hurting yourself. That's the
Exactly.
key, right?
Exactly.
Final thoughts.
Final
Anything
thought.
that we miss you think's really important you want to get out there, because you can sit down with any potential client and get to know them because you said it's all about building
Relationship.
relationship and experience,
Yes.
which is the two most important things to you.
It is. I want to run my business as a service to others. It really is what I feel I was called to do. It's
Yep.
my passion, it's my gift. And yes, it's my business and I have to make a living at it, but I really feel like that relationship and that serving is where my heart is.
Yeah, and you know what? I think it helps your business when you be that way,
Mhm.
because I think that everybody that's run a business that can build relationships and help people get what they need and make them feel good is going to be successful. Period. And you got another text. So let's wrap up. What's your website again?
My website is
And I'll
dazzlinglightphoto.com.
have a link to that with a picture she's going to probably want to send me to put on that custom player.
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll
So
have links to all our social networks and everything else. Yeah,
we have one time for one more thing.
yeah, absolutely.
So I have a great referral program as well.
That's what I was going to ask you.
So when a client refers someone to me, they get a $25 credit and they get to save those up. I have a big spreadsheet. I keep track of all those and I send them a thank you certificate. They can keep those as well. So they can save those up. You refer people to me. Oh, look, I have a free session, or oh, look, I have a free canvas.
That's awesome.
So I really appreciate, because that's, as a small business, that's the biggest thing is word of mouth and referrals from other people.
Yeah, and when you're giving something that's meaningful to them,
Hmm.
on and on, it keeps
Yeah,
them in the game, so to speak. But it also helps them with something that they may need at the time. So there you go. I'm checking in my gift
absolutely.
certificate. Right. All right.
Yep.
Thank you. Say good night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for listening.
You're welcome. This has been the Hurdy Burke Internet Broadcast Network. And remember, we're live now every Tuesday and Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Hurdy Burke Broadcast Network right here on YouTube. And if you go to Hurdy Burke, Hurdie, first name, Burk, second name, Broadcast Network on Facebook group, if you'll add yourself there, I will automatically allow you to join. It's free. There's no charge to be a member. And you can listen to all the shows, especially like this great one, Donna tonight. I want to tell everybody we're bumping into the holidays, so after next week, we'll not be connecting back till after the first of the year. That's when I do these shows year round, so that's my last 2 weeks of the year where I can take a deep breath. But we will be back next week all the way up through Tuesday and Thursday night. So guys, again, it's going to be on demand. You guys have a great evening. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you around the corner next week on the Hurdy Burke Internet Broadcast Network. Say good night.
Good night, everybody.